Imagine walking into a cafe in Berlin. You order a coffee, pull out your card, and tap the terminal. Nothing happens. The cashier points to a small sign beside the register, cash only. Germany builds world-class machines, runs Europe's largest national economy, and exports some of the most advanced technology on Earth. Yet paying for a cup of coffee can still feel strangely old-fashioned. But here is the surprising part. Germany is not actually refusing digital payments. It is refusing to let cash disappear. In 2025, Germany crossed an important line. For the first time, most everyday purchases were paid without cash. 55% were cashless. Cash had fallen to 45%. And yet it remained the single most frequently used payment method. More importantly, 80% of people surveyed said keeping the option to pay with cash was important. So Germany is becoming cashless and protecting cash at the same time. To understand why, we have to stop treating cash as just another way to pay. The easy explanation is that Germany is simply behind, that it dislikes technology, fears change, or never built the right payment infrastructure. It is a tempting story. It is also incomplete. Almost everyone in Germany has access to a payment account and owns a payment card. Mobile payments are growing quickly. They already accounted for 10% of recorded payments in 2025, and many Germans actively want better card acceptance. In an earlier Bundesbank survey, 44% said they preferred cashless payment. Only 28% preferred cash, while the rest had no firm preference. That is not a country refusing cards. The issue is not whether Germany can go digital. The issue is what disappears when cash does. A digital payment can involve several intermediaries. The merchant, banks, a payment network, and sometimes a technology platform all help move the money. That makes payment fast and convenient. It also creates data. Cash works differently. One person hands a note to another, and the transaction is settled immediately. There is no battery, login, remote server, or complete digital payment trail required at the moment of exchange. In a Bundesbank survey, 63% of respondents named privacy protection as an advantage of cash. 41% valued the overview it gave them of their spending. A banking app can display a perfect list of everything you bought, but a limited amount of cash creates a boundary you can feel. When the wallet is empty, the budget is visible. That does not make cash objectively better. It makes cash useful in a different way. Then there is a system that quietly keeps reinforcing itself. In 2025, cash could be used for 94% of recorded purchases at physical locations. Cashless payment was possible for 86%. That gap matters. Around 1/4 of respondents said that during the previous month they had been unable to pay cashless at least once when they wanted to. If you know a card might not work everywhere, carrying some cash is rational. And if millions of customers continue carrying cash, accepting it remains rational for merchants. Cash is carried because it is accepted. It is used because it is carried. And it stays accepted because it is still used. This loop does not require everyone to love banknotes. It only requires enough situations where cash remains the safest option. There is also a less romantic reason some shops keep cash around. It can be economically competitive. A Bundesbank study found that cash cost German retailers an average of 43 cents per transaction, making it the cheapest method by that measure. When costs were compared with sales value, Germany's domestic Giro card performed best at roughly 0.8%. International debit and credit cards were more expensive in both comparisons. That does not mean every cash-only cafe has calculated the perfect payment strategy. Cash also requires counting, storage, transport, and protection. But small businesses tend to face higher average costs for cashless payments and have less power to negotiate fees. For a shop selling many low-priced items, keeping cash can be practical rather than nostalgic. This is where many explanations jump directly into German history. They point to the hyperinflation of the 1920s or to the experience of state surveillance under German dictatorships. Those events matter to Germany's wider relationship with money, institutions, and privacy. But there is not enough evidence to claim that one historical trauma directly explains how Germans pay for coffee today. The honest answer is more ordinary. Habits, merchant acceptance, costs, privacy, and infrastructure accumulated over decades. Together, they created a system that is difficult to replace all at once, and for some people, cash is more than a preference. The Bundesbank found that older people, those with health limitations, lower incomes, or lower digital literacy, used cash more frequently. A payment system that works only through apps and cards can therefore exclude people who struggle with the devices, accounts, passwords, or requirements behind them. Cash asks for none of those things. It also works when a phone battery dies. It can keep working during a temporary network or payment system failure. And it is public money rather than a balance that can only move through a private payment company. In another Bundesbank survey, 95% agreed that cash was important as a fallback during technical disruptions. Of course, cash is not perfect. It can be lost or stolen. It needs secure transport, counting, storage, and a functioning network of cash machines. But backup systems are not valuable because they are flawless. They are valuable because they fail differently from the main system. At that point, cash stops looking like an outdated product. It starts looking like backup infrastructure. None of this means cash is winning. Germany's payment habits are changing quickly. Cash fell from 51% of recorded payments in 2023 to 45% in 2025. Mobile payments rose from 6% to 10%, and many people still find themselves in shops where they want to pay digitally but cannot. Germany is not trying to turn back the clock. It is trying to prevent one option from eliminating the other before every part of society is ready. That is the real reason Germany refuses to let cash die. Not because Germans have rejected digital payments, not because every citizen is obsessed with privacy, and not because the country is trapped in the past. Germany wants the speed and convenience of digital payment without surrendering the privacy, accessibility, and independence of cash. It does not want to choose one system. It wants the freedom to choose between them. Progress is not always the moment an old system disappears. Sometimes it is the moment a society understands why an alternative is worth keeping. Every place has a logic.